Fit and 10 Nation, it is day 50 of the Fit and 10 Challenge. Day 50, 20 more days, officially speaking, of the challenge. And, well, you guys are going to have a few extra days, so, you know, 22, 23 days. But for the official dates, we have 20 days left, and it feels like we just started this challenge. We can see how fast time goes. 10-week challenge seems long, but really it's not in essence, and it's really just the starting point. Listen, I want to get right into some questions here, and I did mention something, or I did read this person's comments yesterday. I'm just going to reread the last part there, and I just want to add something to it. So I'll just reread the last few sentences. Over the years, I seem to lose weight best when doing consistent cardio. However, so far this challenge, I've only really put on weight or maintained my current weight, hopefully muscle. Should I be doing more cardio than what's prescribed before the end of the challenge to lose more fat? I know I mentioned this yesterday. You need to follow your diet. Okay, you need to follow like exactly. So not sort of, and not some days. So that's, as I mentioned yesterday, that's where I would start. But the analogy is kind of like, I was trying to think about what would be like the best analogy, and it's sort of like me giving you directions on how to get from point A to point B in a certain time period. And you go off course, and then you ask me, well, do you think I'm off course now? Should I change the engine in my car so my car can go faster? And or something, right? Should I change something about the car to make it go faster so I can get to that destination in time? And the reality is really what it is you have to just follow the course of action as closely as possible. I'm not saying that that's should be easy for you, but what we're trying to do is offset mistakes that are being made, and you kind of just have to accept the fact that these mistakes are being made, and then the best way to continue is to rectify those mistakes and get back on that course that I told you, rather than trying to you're going off course this way, so then we're going to throw more weight over here to try to balance things out, and and then it just becomes more of a guessing game because we add in more cardio and the food's not on. We deviate farther away from the set plan. So my suggestion is always revert back to the set plan that you have, okay? Especially too, these next few weeks, your food's gonna get lower, so, well, tomorrow that is. All right, next question. This person says, to get macros, I have had to eat out several days this week and it has hampered my progress. I will eat at home as much as possible. So again, if you're eating out, depending on what you eat, some of the menus have like the exact macros on there. And if you do feel like the need to eat out, or it's work related or whatnot, then my suggestion is always, and you're doing something like this, my suggestion is to have a salad or whatever. Just have something very, very strategic, okay, for lack of better words, something that you're gonna know is gonna be very, very low calories, or see if they have something on the menu that is known calorically speaking, or more importantly macro speaking. Or try to choose a restaurant that has macro breakdowns on their menus. I think like Cactus Club does, and I know other restaurants do. But you know what? I mean, if you're gonna do a salad or whatever, then you just eat before going. Eat a salad at the restaurant, and then eat whatever afterwards, right? Not whatever, but eat your meal either before or after going to the restaurant. All right, what is the difference between subcutaneous fat and visceral fat? My visceral fat has gone up, while the subcutaneous fat has decreased. Is it possible due to hormonal changes? How do I decrease visceral fat? So visceral fat in particular is actually fat in the abdomen. So it's within the abdomen. So this is deep. This is around the organs. This typically goes up with age. First, my question would be how do you know how much visceral fat you have? Did you have a DEXA scan done? Secondly, or I want to add to that, subcutaneous fat is just the fat underneath the skin. Okay, so the fat that you can pinch off your stomach would be like subcutaneous fat. The fat that's actually within the abdomen around the organs, that is visceral fat. Okay, and you didn't mention this, but ectopic fat is fat that's in the organs. I don't know, but I'm going to tell you this much. When I started, I don't know if this is the case, and you guys have heard me mention this before, but when I started doing apple cider vinegar and lime juice in the morning, along with salt, my visceral fat, or just coincidentally, my visceral fat did decrease. Now, apple cider vinegar has been touted to do that, right? It says to reduce belly fat. So I'm not sure if that means visceral fat or if that means subcutaneous fat on the belly. I don't know, but my visceral fat did decrease. Okay, since I started that, I have less fat inside the stomach, more so now than ever. Okay, so and the only thing I really changed in my lifestyle was really just doing that. So it's, you know, as I said, it's interesting to note. Actually, I don't even know if I did mention this on the Fit in 10 videos. I mentioned this on my Instagram, on my personal Instagram. Maybe the Train on Me Instagram, but I don't think I mentioned it in these videos. So yeah, you can try it, see if it makes a difference. You know what? Why not try that now? Do it every morning, okay? So what I do is I do a full lime, and I do, you know, 4 to 8, not 4, I do more like 8 tablespoons of, you don't need to do that much. I'm just an overdoer. You can do like 2 or 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. See if that makes a difference, okay? But do that over, I mean, I've been doing this now for well over a year, okay? About a year and a half, so give it a shot. See if it makes a difference. Can it be due to hormonal changes, the visceral fat increase? Possibly, I don't know. I have to look into it and get back to you. Yeah, I'm not sure, okay? Usually it's more lifestyle related, okay? You know, alcohol consumption can definitely increase visceral fat. And we see this a lot with people who drink a ton of beer, right? Or just alcohol in general. They tend to have like what we call a beer belly. Tons of visceral fat. Okay, food of the day here quickly. Granola. Can you eat granola? Well, listen, you can eat pretty much whatever you want. I don't really like foods like this. And when I say foods like this, I mean foods that are, you know, a conglomeration of things. Unless it's like a protein bar or whatnot. Like, I think a lot of you know that I'm pretty basic, and I try to encourage you guys to do that. So, for example, if you have like a protein source like chicken, and then you're gonna have like a carb source like potato, and then you're gonna have some vegetables or something, and then maybe like I don't know, some nuts. So those are all very basic food. There's nothing that's really been done to them. So that's what, you know, 80% of my diet is. Maybe more some days. So I don't really like this because, you know, it's a packaging of a bunch of different ingredients. So this has got whole grain rolled oats, brown sugar, soybean oil, almonds, honey, and natural flavors. Not so bad. I remember I bought this, like, I actually bought this, like, well, let's look at the date on it. So it expired 2 years ago, okay? So you can know how fast I go through granola. I bought this for my cheat days to have with yogurt. So for a cheat meal. As you know, granola is very, very calorie dense. Why is it calorie dense? Because it's just high in carbs and it's high in fat. Simple as that. So, you know, and this is primarily because, you know, the whole grain rolled oats that are in here they're not cooked, right? They're like, because when you cook the whole grain oats, they expand so much, right? So you get more volume for food. This is not. This is low in sodium, which is terrible. Okay, it should be, I don't like that. I go for high sodium foods. Remember that? Low sodium is not healthy for you. I'm going to repeat that again. Low sodium is not healthy for you. So again, this is high in calories because it's high in fat, relatively high in fat, and it's high in carbohydrates. And per cup, you get about forget about adding anything to this, you get about 500 calories per cup of this. And it's very easy to eat a cup of this. Okay, so can you eat it? You can eat it, yes. You know, obviously the downfall of this stuff is it's got brown sugar and it's got soybean oil. Soybean oil is not really the best oil. Certainly brown sugar is better than white sugar, and it's got some honey in here. It does have natural flavoring, which is good. So definitely the reason I bought it, it was one of the healthier type granolas to buy. You notice on the front of it, it says 39 grams of whole grains. Okay, great. Yeah, I guess they're trying to say that it's more whole grains than anything, and it is the first ingredient on here. And that looks to be about 75% of it is whole grain. So, not bad. This, by the way, doesn't taste that good compared to other granolas. I think it is lower in sugar. And still super high in those calories. Okay, message of the day. Reset, readjust, restart, refocus. As many times as you need to, just don't quit. All right, so reset, readjust, restart, refocus. As many times as you need to, just don't quit. And you know, this is just another way of me rephrasing what I do on a lot of these videos. That is, you've got to keep going, and that's the only way you will succeed. It's normal to fall. It's normal to have thoughts of quitting. It's normal to you know, fall off the wagon, perhaps. Some people for a short period of time, some people for a longer period of time, but get back on, okay? Because getting off and staying off will get you absolutely nowhere, and I can assure you will probably make you feel worse about yourself and your ability to accomplish things, right? So, you know, you will build a self-belief that you can't do it, when in fact you can, because it's just a choice. That's all it is, right? This is just a choice. Everything I have you guys do here is not, I'm not asking you to jump a vertical, you know, some sort of vertical feat of 10 feet, which is like literally physically impossible. You just can't do it. Doesn't matter what you do. I'm just asking you to make the right choice, right? Make the right choice. Make the right choice. You'll have that capability. You do, okay? That is, of course, if you want to do it, okay? And that's a different story. All right, but I'm assuming you're in the challenge, so you want to do it, right? So just make the right choices. Okay, submit, commit, you guys. Keep at it. Your cardio intensity is going up. Keep doing the workouts. If you want to add in an extra day of working out with weights, okay, or if you want to add in an extra day of cardio, you can do that, okay? I'm not going to turn you away from doing extra. The reason why I gave you the amount that I did is because it was something that was reasonable, and it was enough to produce results along with the diet, okay? Produce really good results, okay? So, submit, commit, do what you have to do. 3 cardio sessions per week, 3 weight training sessions per week. Follow your diet, man. That is the biggest thing. I'm serious, okay? I mean, it's important to have that stimulus there, but, you know, there's this other thing called energy that's coming in, okay? We have to be able to control that. Not just energy, but the types of energy, right? I.e. your macros. Make all your meals protein-based. Fulfill your protein, then fulfill your fat, then do your carbs, okay? Carbs will come last. Okay. Talk to you guys all soon. Have a wonderful night. See you guys. Book your fat scan.